Guys, it's Blue's Gotcha Day. We're on the front porch with a nice cup of hot coffee. It's a crisp day, so we're bundled up, but it just makes the coffee taste that much better. Blue is already happily in the garden hunting for a green bean that's probably not there, but she thinks she can find it. And we're going to take the opportunity, because it is such a big day for her when she joined our family, to share Blue's story and talk about some of the health concerns she faces. You guys are so great, and every time we post that we're going to the cardiologist or we have a vet appointment, you flood our inbox and our direct messages with love and prayers, and you ask questions about what's going on with Blue. So we thought we would just share kind of the background of her story with you so that you can get to know Blue and how she came to us. And she got...
She's scared.
Yeah, the wind blew the sunflower leaves, and she got scared.
What?
Ooh! Anyways, Blue came to be ours when a longtime friend of mine had a friend of a friend contact her and ask if she knew anybody that would be looking to rehome a bully. And they kind of wanted somebody that had experience with the bully breed. If any of you are unfamiliar with bullies, or really any smushy-faced dog like pugs, they tend to come with some maintenance, oftentimes with some health issues that you need to deal with. And it's better to just have a little experience. So she was looking for somebody along those lines if she could find it. I, of course, being the dog lover that I am, I would adopt every single one I see. Convinced Mike that it would just be one visit, and we weren't going to bring her home. It would just be one little visit with this bully, just to make sure that she is okay with her current owner, but we wouldn't get another dog. At this point in time, Cheddar was just barely 2, I think. Just barely 2, so we had our hands full with him and kind of wanted to give him our attention. We were in the middle of building this house and working on the property here, so our plate was a little bit full, to say the least. But I just thought one little visit.
One little visit turned into a whole 4, the whole month?
Like every weekend. Every weekend we were visiting Blue. At the time her name was Oreo. And taking her to meet Cheddar, because it was super important that they would get along if we were to take her. And again, at this point in our mind, we were not even thinking about, being her forever home. But we met them, and on Labor Day weekend, which is the weekend that we're filming this, Blue officially became our sweet little girl. And now, looking back at it, almost 2 years later, exactly 2 years later, she's like the best little girl that could have ever come into our life. So, to kind of step back and talk about her family, she came from an awesome family, and they are such great people. The only reason they rehomed her is they were living in an apartment in the city and quickly realized that, she really wasn't getting as much outside time as she needed. She wasn't running as much as she could because they had a little bit of a smaller space indoors. And her former owner, which we call Mama Nicole affectionately, which is very much a part of our family now, she had a daughter, a teenage daughter, and just, how it is running with anybody in school and kind of getting them to all the activities that they're in, and then having to come home and take care of your dog at the same time. It's a lot, and it's tough. So she kind of quickly realized that, oh my gosh, we need to, sadly for them, find a home for Blue that just has a little more time and a little more space, and where she can be a little more free. And it's so funny to say the term open adoption with a dog, but we really have that, and we're really thankful to have been able to invite Nicole and her family really as into ours. She's an extension of ours now. And it's great that Blue, doesn't have a hard stop with the previous family. I love that she still gets to see them, and they get to be part of her life. They know she's safe and taken care of, and we exchange silly pictures all the time. It's just really nice to have kind of this well-rounded circle for Blue. And they're so sweet. They treat Cheddar just the same as Blue too when they come to see her, which is just awesome. So after we got Blue, fast forward 6 months, February I think of 2019, Blue was in the living room. We were right there. This is like my worst dog mom moment. She swallowed a rope toy. I'll pop a picture in this video of the rope that she ate. How she did this right in front of us, I have no idea. She's like so stealthy about it. She swallowed this rope toy. Most horrific day of my life. I felt so bad. And I knew it was gone. Like, I always pick their toys up at night. Yes, yo swallowed the rope toy. Oh, sure did. She's like, stop talking about me. I always pick their toys up at night because I don't want to step on a squeaky toy when I go to let them out in the middle of the night. So we pick them up, and the rope toy's gone. And I'm like, oh man, it's in one of them. It's either in Cheddar or it's in Blue. And Cheddar's not an eater. He's definitely a destroyer of toys, but he just likes the chaos and the mess. He doesn't eat anything. So my hunch was that it was in Blue. The next day, I just still had a hunch that we could not find this toy in the house, so we took her to the vet. They did an x-ray, and they sure enough saw a little mass in her tummy. I'm like, I swear to you, I'm sure our doctors think we're crazy. I was like, I swear to you that this is a foot of rope. I promise you. So they gave us some options. Long story short, they took the rope out. But during that surgery, it actually became a blessing in disguise, sort of. Because during that surgery, the doctor was able to hear a murmur in her heart, and suggested that we get it taken care of. Now, he did say that sometimes your heart acts a little funny when you're under anesthesia, so he said it could be nothing, but recommended that we get an echocardiogram and kind of get it checked out. So that led to an echocardiogram locally. They found some odd signs in her heart, and we got referred to the Animal Emergency Center of Minnesota and met Dr. George, who we love. He's a dog cardiologist, and he takes care of Blue now. So what's going on with Blue's heart? Blue has a couple of things going on. She has 2 valves in 2 different chambers of her heart that are deformed and have been that way since birth. So instead of being like a little suction cup that stops the blood flow as it passes through, it has little leaflets, they call it, at the top. So instead of a nice round circle, it's kind of jagged. She's directly under the camera right now.
Come here, silly girl.
It's kind of jagged
silly
on
girl.
the end of that little suction cup, so it doesn't stop all of the blood from being able to flow through, and it actually regurgitates back into the chamber. So the blood is supposed to be forced through and kind of complete one direction, and hers actually regurgitates. So that's definitely hard on her heart. There's 2 valves that are like that. So she has some regurgitation because her heart's working harder. She has some heart enlargement already, so her heart is a little bit under strain. And you can definitely see the outside signs of this when she really doesn't do a whole lot of exercise, I would say. Like, you throw the toy a couple times and she, is panting pretty heavily. She's in great shape, but, she definitely struggles to get, air.
You get short-winded quickly.
Yeah, she gets short-winded quickly. And a bulldog is very stubborn, so we're continually having to take the toy away and kind of almost force a break upon her, because she would go forever. I think she would go until her heart exploded, because she just loves to play and run, which is awesome. The other thing that was going on when we met Dr. George is he mentioned a study related to grain-free food and its effect on the heart. So our dogs were on grain-free food at the time, which when we first got bulldogs, we did a ton of research, and all the bulldog owners said grain-free is the way to go. So they were on grain-free at the time. Dr. George mentioned this study. I believe it's a University of California, Davis, that started the study. I could be wrong about that. I'll try to find it and put it in the comments of this video. Yes, beautiful. But the study links grain-free diets to heart problems. And the heart problem that is related to it is a taurine deficiency, and it causes cardiomyopathy, dilated cardiomyopathy. So after we got Blue kind of leveled out and figured out really what was going on, Dr. George suggested that we meet with the lead nutritionist in the Midwest. Her name is Dr. Churchill. She's out of the University of Minnesota, to kind of customize a diet for Blue. So we did that and got her on grain inclusive, and I'll rewind to some troubles that we went through with diet change. But once we got her on grain inclusive, which actually took an entire year, she didn't start really taking to the grain inclusive diet until January of 2020. So it took almost an entire year to find a grain inclusive diet. Then COVID happened when we were supposed to go back to the vet, to the cardiologist, and have her heart checked again. So we delayed it another 3 months, and just this past June she went to the cardiologist, and for the first time we saw some progress in her heart. So some really good things happening, which Dr. George attributes to switching her to grain inclusive and off of grain free. So she also had, to kind of summarize that, some symptoms that they're seeing in that grain free diet study. She definitely had some similar effects of that. So her heart enlargement has actually decreased, and she's now in the high normal range. He saw some increase is the wrong word. What would you call it? In the flow of her heart, and the amount of blood that she's actually able to pass through and not have regurgitate has gotten better. So I'll put it that way. So he's definitely seen some progress and some good signs. And now, instead of going every 6 months to the cardiologist, we get to go every 9, which I take as a huge win for Blue. She's not on any medications related to her heart. If things progress and she gets a little worse, we may have to do some medications in the future, but they could not progress too. She could stay kind of static quo. We don't know what the future will hold. So what we do for her is we just let her be a dog and have the happiest, healthiest life that she can have. And right now it just means giving her some breaks. Did I miss anything about her heart? Is that like how it goes? Hey, Boo.
I don't think you missed anything.
Yeah, so that's really what's going on with her heart. In conducting the diet change with poor little Blue, we uncovered that she also has inflammatory bowel disease. So when we were going through with Dr. Churchill, the nutritionist, some foods that she could change to, that's when we saw a flare-up of the inflammatory bowel disease. So her inflammatory bowel disease, we don't know what caused it because we opted to not put her under anesthesia to take a biopsy of her intestine. That's the only way to pinpoint kind of what is upsetting things in there. So we opted not to go that route, really because we're conscious of her heart. Any anesthesia that she's under is definitely hard on her heart, and we wanted to avoid that at all costs. So we kind of just deduced with our doctor that she has inflammatory bowel disease because of what she went through. So we went through 3 different dog foods, I think, 3 different grain-inclusive dog foods to conduct the switch. She ended up being in the hospital for her inflammatory bowel disease for, straight. Like, we had to leave her there for a week, I think.
It was a full week.
Yeah, a full week. And then we went back and forth to the doctor because she'd have little flare-ups and wasn't really getting better for about 6 months. It was August, September-ish of 2019, the time that we actually got her on a dog food that works for her that she's on now, that's grain inclusive, started in January of 2020. So it took us from September 2019 to January 2020 to kind of get her inflammatory bowel disease under control, figure out how we can support that naturally. Again, we try to not do medication if it's not necessary. We're definitely not the people that are like, no medication at all. But for her and her heart, we try to really be conscious about the medical choices that we make for her because we don't want to trade one problem for another. So we worked really hard in that 6-month time frame to ensure that she wouldn't have to take any really harsh medications for at least this part of her life. She may in the future, but right now she is completely stable. She doesn't have any inflammatory bowel disease flare-ups at the time. She's super happy and healthy, and the way that we control it right now is just with one Benadryl in the morning and a one Benadryl at night. And the reason that we do that, that's under our doctor's, the veterinary supervision, I'll call it. But the reason we do that is it kind of keeps it's almost like an allergic reaction, how her intestines react, that cause the flare-ups. So we're kind of just keeping the allergy type of symptom in check with the Benadryl on the lowest dose possible. She started out with a very high dose. She was taking almost 6 a day, and now she takes 2, just one in the morning and one at night. And it's just like human Benadryl. It's just over the counter. So it's really easy to manage. And like I said, since January of 2020, she has been A-okay, on the happy road of being healthy, and no other issues have come up. So she's definitely been a little roller coaster for the last 2 years that we've had her. But there's so many blessings that come with her too. What do you think, Papa?
She sure is. Both of them are, aren't you?
Yes.
Where do you think your sister went?
Cheddar is 2. Do we see if we can call her like a pig? She loves to be called like a pig to come back. I'm here, guys. Thank you.
Good girl.
I can't think of a better way to end this video.